The first Byepocalypse has come to an end. Let's talk about week 7. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Jimmy Fooseball here. Let's talk about week 7 in the HFL, beginning with the AI recap. So, our top players: Patrick Mahomes, 36 points. Lamar Jackson, 35 points. Deontay Foreman, 31.5 points. Overachiever this week is It's My Diggs in a Box, scoring 22.2 points over his projected score. He finishes with 134.3. And our underachiever, scoring negative 31.5 points from his projected score, is Mr. Miami, finishing with 88.9 points. Now let's talk about our week 7 matchup. The first matchup that we will be going over for week 7 is a matchup between Into the Void, aka Commish, Sam Culver, versus Mr. Miami, aka Joe Walter Wassell. Commish gets the W this week, a much needed W for him. He puts up 125.3. Mr. Miami ducks this week with 88.94 points. We're going to get into that. Don't worry about it. On the Commissioner's side, we have Alvin Kamara, 23.3 points. TJ Hawkinson, tight end week, as you all know, 11 receptions, 86 yards for 14 points. And the biggest shocker we have here, Hopkins putting up 22 points in the kicker position. You know what we say about kickers. Put it up on the screen. Thank you. And like I said, Mr. Miami is our duck for the week, so let's go in on his roster here. We have Tua, who had a pretty underwhelming performance, 10.34 points. Kenneth Walker III, 105 yards, 13.1 points is pretty good. The $25 fab man, I believe Zach Evans, puts up a donut. I don't think he even got a single carry. This is what happens when you don't watch football and you just pick up the guy with the highest projections, I suppose. Calvin Ridley continues to struggle, only 1 reception for 5 yards, that's 1 point. Kadarius Toney, 1 reception as well, 13 yards, 1.8 points. Travis Kelce, tight end week, puts up an insane 30.9 points, 12 receptions, 179, and a touchdown. Tyler Lockett, 5.8 points. DeAndre Swift, 9 points. Washington defense against the Giants, 9 points. And Justin Tucker, the man himself, 8 points. Congratulations to the Commish. Joe, unfortunately, takes the loss. Mr. Miami falls to 4-3. Commissioner name changes every week. We'll see what it is next week. Is now 3-4. In our second matchup of the week, controversial perhaps, but you know, I run the show here, Jimmy Fooseball, so I'm gonna call it our game of the week. There is a closer game than this one, but this particular matchup I feel like has the makings of the game of the week here. We have Hairline Avengers, Gabe versus Intimidation Infinite, Frank. Both teams with very solid records so far this year. It's a big matchup, but this time Gabe gets the W, 135.46 to Frank's 123.06. In our game of the week matchup, where we have Gabe versus Frank, Gabe is our performance of the week. So we got a game of the week with the performer of the week. Let's break down Gabe's lineup. Patrick Mahomes, 424 yards and 4 touchdowns and a pick, 35.86 points. Run CMC, 21.1 points. He sealed the deal for Gabe. 45 yards, 2 total touchdowns and a fumble. AJ Dillon, 10.5 points. Olave, 9.2 points. Sutton, 16.6 points. Kyle Pitts, 6.2 points. Deontay Johnson in his return, 10.4 points. Tutu Atwell, 9.6 points. Seattle defense, 9 points. And Harrison Butker, 7 points. A solid performance. Anytime you're going up against Frank, you know you need your team to show out, and that's exactly what they did. On the other side, for Frank, Jalen Hurts, Mr. Tush Push, 23.26 points. They were tush pushing all over the place that game. I fucking hated to see it. Gus Edwards, 64 yards and a touchdown, 20.9 points. Tyreek Hill continuing to do what he does. 11 receptions, 88 yards, and a touchdown for 20.3 points. And Puka Nacua, 8 receptions for 154 yards. Unfortunately, it is not enough for Frank as he takes his second loss of the season, putting him at 5-2, still leading the pack so far in the standings. Gabe is also at 5-2 now. 2 of 3 teams that are 5-2. In our third matchup, this one could be voted the game of the week. It is a very close matchup here. I just personally felt that the previous matchup was a better game of the week choice. But anyway, we have injured reserves. Cleary versus Revenge of the Finnk. Jordan Finnk. Cleary been having a rough season so far. Finnk having a pretty good season so far as he is now on a 3-game winning streak. Finnk puts up 102.76. Cleary puts up 99.36. It is a 3-point deciding game. Very close matchup. For Cleary, the injured reserves, we got Trevor Lawrence putting up 18.06 points. We have Cooper Kupp kind of struggling here. 2 receptions, 29 yards for 5.9 points. Got A.J. Brown putting up 25.7 points, 10 receptions for 137 yards and a touchdown. Cleary picks up the Lions kicker. I don't know if you saw the game, but the Lions got clobbered last week. He puts up 0 points. A donut could have been the deciding factor for Cleary's loss. Now on the Finnk side, 3-game winning streak we're talking about. He starts Sam Howell this week. Only 9.46 points, but it doesn't matter. Isaiah Pacheco continuing to get touchdowns. He put up 14 points. Mike Evans, 17.2 points. Darren Waller, tight end week, 19.3 points. Super nice performance. Christian Kirk, 16 points. Romeo Dobbs, 10 points. The game had been sealed already before Monday Night Football. Finnk keeps it safe, does not put a defense in for the chance of negative points, and secures himself the dub. Maybe another reason why I didn't want to give it game of the week. Yeah, congratulations Finnk on a current 3-game win streak. Finnk is sitting at 4-3. The injured reserves, the struggles continue. He is 2-5. In our 4th matchup of the week, we're going to talk about Fratty Jones versus the manager. Hold your breath for this one, folks. Now, Fratty Jones. He ducks last week and he ducks the interview last week. This week, also not seen in the interviews, but we got a lot of good things to talk about with him. Let's talk about it. Lamar Jackson, 357 yards with 4 total TDs, including rushing. 34 points for him. Deontay Foreman, we talked about him in the AI recap. Absolutely popped off. What a pickup there. He gets 89 yards and 3 total touchdowns this week. 31.5 points. That is the bulk of JD's points. As you see, a Cole Kmet donut during tight end week. I believe he had both of his wide receivers with the bye week. We had Garrett Wilson and Jamar Chase on bye, so JD had to play Rondell Moore and Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed ends up getting a touchdown, so not all that bad. And he is playing David, so On the manager side, we have Saquon, 17.3 points. Nice. Jerome Ford unfortunately leaves with an injury, but 16.4 points. Not bad. He was a part of the trade. Got Michael Pittman Jr. scoring a fat touchdown, 15.3 points there. Fratty Jones, much needed W for him. He's 4-3. The manager still looks for his first win of the 2023 season. He is 0-7. In our 5th matchup, we have a matchup of the besties. Best friends forever. Best friends forever. We got Squidward Tortellini versus It's My Diggs in a Box. John P versus Lombardi. Lombardi getting the W this week, 134.26 points to John P's 111.44. John P's team looks like Travis Etienne, 2 touchdowns, 21.2 points. George Pickens, 14.2 points. Kendrick Bourne looking like the guy in New England, 13.3 points. Philly D against Miami, 11 points. Younghoe Koo with the game winner, I think, 13 points. On the other side for Lombardi, he starts Geno Smith, 13.76 points. Jahmyr Gibbs unlocked. Welcome aboard. Finally getting a big game from him, 23.1 points. See you later, Tyler Alligator fills in for Bijan with his for his headache. We'll talk about Bijan in a later matchup. Tyler Algier puts up 12.7 points. Stephon Diggs, the name of the team, puts up 14.8 points. Dallas Goedert, tight end week, 16.2 points. Nice. Joshua Palmer, 16.8 points. Cleveland D, 13 points. Myles Garrett looks like a man possessed out there. Big win for Lombardi. Lombardi is now 4-3, and Squidward Tortellini sits at 3-4. In our final matchup this week, we have Austin 316 Mike versus Team Jeff Zach. This week, Austin 316 getting a bounce back W. His toughest opponent, historically speaking. This is only his 2nd victory against Zach. Congratulations on the 2nd victory out of 9 matchups, 11 matchups. I forget what the number is, but Just an insane stat there. Going over Austin 316, we got to talk about Austin Eckler, the name of the team. He doesn't have a very good week, only 5.1 points as the Chargers kind of struggle against the Chiefs. Justin Herbert only puts up 10.86 points. However, we have James Cook, 17 points. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 17 points. Jacoby Myers, 14.5. Mark Andrews, tight end week, 20.3 points. He gets 2 touchdowns. And Kareem Hunt in the second flex, also getting 2 touchdowns, 15.1 points. On the other side for Jeff, some interesting woes continue for him and his team. Highly recommend listening to his post-week interviews because he always has something to say about his squad and what's going on over there. It's been a very interesting year for him, to say the least, as Jeff is historically the most winning member in the HFL. This year has been a little different for him as his team has some of the weirdest struggles I've ever heard of. Let's talk about it. Josh Allen, 24.3 points, although they lose to the Patriots. Fucking wild. Jonathan Taylor, 19.5 points. He's coming back. Love to see that. For Zach, Devontae Adams, an okay game, 9.2. Got JSN. He's finally coming alive, 14.3 points. Baltimore defense, 11 points. But of course, the big headline of the week is Bijan Robinson. 3 yards is his final stat line. You saw see you later, Tyler Alligator. And the man older than a bag of dust himself, or Daryl Patterson, getting hella carries between the two of them, while Bijan was sitting on the sideline because he, quote, wasn't feeling like himself. Reports were saying might have been dealing with migraine. Migraines suck for sure, but I could not believe what I was hearing when I was watching Red Zone, and I was so confused why I barely saw Bijan on the field, and that's what they had to say. You know, the Falcons didn't talk about it pre-game. I saw him come onto the field for one drive. He ran onto the field and ran right off. He didn't even end up staying for a play. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Zach, I mean, I don't even know what to say. I can't believe this is actually a thing that we have to talk about, but you know, here we are. So Austin 316 is 5-2, as Jeff is now 3-4. The week 7 Byepocalypse is over, folks. Congratulations, you survived it. Let's take a look at the standings right now. We have 3 teams sitting at 5-2 records: Intimidation Infinite, XX, Hairline Avengers, and Austin 316. We got Mr. Miami, Diggs in a Box, Fratty Jones, Finnk, all sitting at 4-3. Squidward Tortellini, Into the Void, aka Commish, Jeff, all sitting at 3-4. And then we have our bottom 2, the injured reserves, Cleary, and the winless 0-7 manager. Once again, hopefully he gets his first dub next week. Saw a stat today that 1.6% of all fantasy teams are winless, so David is among the 1.6%. However you want to take that, you take what you will from that. Now, once again, I want to thank everybody for watching another weekly recap with Jimmy Fooseball. I look forward to next week's. This one was a little late, but you know what? I have a fucking life. I do shit too. That's all I got, man. Everyone, have a good night. Have a good day. Be safe out there. It's Jimmy Fooseball, HFL recap. Thanks for watching.